Alright. Now I'll go make my own lobby.
Alright, let me go join that.
Hello.
Are you live?
Yeah, I should be. And we have our first chatter, Wibby, I think that's also Doodle's queen. One of many names.
Right. Yeah, that would be right. I am assuming Fingari is out of the running.
Yeah, Fingari has been DQ'd, sadly, but
too bad.
Have plenty of players. Should be good. Alright, so in terms of the bracket, we'll go ahead and switch the stream over to that. Good, that looks like it's working. Alright. Oops, I didn't reseed. I think I can still do that though. Let's make sure everything's seeded right. Yeah, that'll do. That's fine. Alright, so our first match, we're gonna have Cyber versus Sans. As you may remember, we stream all of Winners Round 1 to ensure everyone gets a chance to get some advice.
There's only one match in Winners Round 1, so that'll be easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first set of matches, I guess technically that will be Winners Round 2.
I just had to point it out.
Yeah. Alright, so now we just have to wait on Sans' opponent. Sans may be an ARC player, going by that avatar. Don't see many of those around. Although we have one in the tournament in Wibby. An ARC main. Alright, someone in the chat is cheering for Sans. You love to see it.
Oh, it's Misha. Hello, Misha.
Who's Misha?
They were a player who participated in, some stuff sometimes a while back. I remember they joined one of my tournaments and a bunch of Misha's friends came and started cheering them on, and then I accidentally banned one of them.
Must be before my time then, because I don't recall this happening.
Yeah, it may have been before your time. But hello, Misha. It's me, Horai. You probably joined one of my tournaments at least once.
Chat, the place I can see it. I only have one monitor, so this is a bit of a logistical nightmare at times. Alright, I'm assuming Cyb is Cyber.
That would be a fair assumption.
Cyber, if this is Cyber, should probably join up the match.
Alright.
We have our first match. Who's on the left? Sans.
Oh, blind pick is off.
Oh. Does that really matter for a beginner tournament? We should probably change that. Alright, real quick, I need to go change that, tournament participants. I apologize for having the wrong settings.
I think that might have been changeable within the lobby. It's alright either way. People can just rejoin.
You know, this is like the second time this has happened. The rules might need to be reworded, because multiple people have now thought you have to play a random character in game 1.
Oh,
I guess
let me read your rules.
Blind pick? Well, I just copied it straight from the Awakening the Maiden rules.
Oh, okay.
Which I think has been copied since, like, some tournament at the dawn of time.
Well,
it's the same.
Awakening the Maiden 1 was the first.
Make sure you.
Well, it was technically the second tournament, but it was the first tournament ever to finish. The first tournament ever for real was Spellbinders. Spellbinders 1. And it was probably Arcea who made the rules then. Good thing you specified.
Alright, so we're heading into game number 1. Sans versus Saib. I can't believe, or I don't believe I've ever seen either of these players play the game, so I don't know what matchup to expect.
I cannot remember if I played Sans before. Definitely not Saib. Either way,
Worm
Sans
versus
is
Hood.
playing Worm, as we kind of saw from the preview.
Yeah, I always love to see Worm, one of the lesser represented characters, and honestly, these days Hood isn't played that much either, but I think this matchup can go either way at the beginner level, depending on how bonk-prone the Worm player is, but it looks like Sans has a good grasp on how to stay outside of Hood's box, so to speak, and so should have a good shot. We're not seeing any focused kunais, I believe, as of yet from Saib, so that's one thing that definitely should be done in the future, because it just helps apply more consistent pressure that Worm can't just sidestep as easily. Yeah, normally I would
I'm in
suggest...
first card by Sans.
Yeah, I would say normally to go in as Worm, but it's working out to just chill a bit as Worm right now. So no need to change anything, I suppose, for this game. Ooh. It's caught by the basic.
Yeah. I think aggressive close-range gameplay is pretty strong for Worm against Red Hood, but it's a bit of an advanced tactic. And at this level, it might be fine for Sans to keep doing what they're doing, although Sans is a little down this card. So
a bit of a lag spike there, or maybe just weird mouse movement, I'm not sure.
I saw the lag spike as well, I believe. Ooh. Sans running into that wide, not going to be good.
I think a good way to think about Worm as a character is that her strength directly scales with range. Very weak far away, but very strong the closer you get. So, if you can possibly manage to survive at close range, you should definitely go in.
The Maiden and Spell website advertises Worm's attacks as having lasers that span the battlefield, but
well,
try not to use them to span the battlefield that much. They're not that good.
Yeah. I actually have come to the conclusion lately, I think laser is Worm's best move.
Maybe.
It's like the most forcing thing that she has. Yeah, still not seeing many focused kunai. I suspect Sans may not know they exist at this point, considering we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
What I do like, though, is consistently pressing wide to make sure that Sans isn't going to be in a safe space, because I think, as Hood, you know, you gotta... If you don't have checkmates, you need to make sure all your hitboxes are in play at all times. And Sans takes the first game.
Well done by Sans.
Right. Sticking it out with Worm. Alright, looks like Cyber is going to be staying Hood. We'll have the same match begin. Definitely winnable, just needs to keep up the pressure. Something I notice new Hoods sometimes, like what separates the ones that win beginner tournaments from the ones that don't, is just attack frequency. At the beginner level, just making sure you're always attacking is like the best thing you can be doing as Hood. Don't leave gaps where you're just not attacking. You got to keep the pressure on.
Pressing buttons is a good thing, as Withy says.
It is, not for all characters, like definitely, like depth, you don't just want to spam buttons mindlessly, but...
Okay, true enough.
As Hood, you really do. I think we also have some Sun players later, which is a bit of a treat. We don't get those that often in my beginner tournaments.
We just saw the wide knife basic combo. which is an interesting one because wide has attack lock, just like basic. I don't know if that was done intentionally. I just think it's interesting that we saw that.
Yeah, I believe the best way to do attacks is to do your knives after wide to cancel the attack lock for Hood.
Yes. But Hood instead, or Side rather, transitioned one knife into a basic, like we'd see someone like Zale do, the basic knife basic combo.
Yeah, Zale really the only one I see implement that. Ox was starting to do it before they quit the game, but as far as current MnS, it's pretty much a Zale only thing.
Oh. Well, I try to do it when I play Hood, but I am not a Hood player.
I don't see you playing Hood all that much.
Yeah, understandable.
Saib off to a good start, making the comeback in this game. Just managing to go around Worm's projectiles, staying at a safe range, and putting out the hitboxes when needed.
Yeah. Well, Saib did just take a hit, but Saib doing a good job staying at long range. I think Sans needs to get into mid-range a little more, just like that.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Saib is using... Oh, no, sorry, the color messed me up. It's Sans that's doing the lasers. Because a lot of beginner worms are too scared to press laser because of how much it slows you down. And that is fair, it does slow you down a good amount, but it's just such a powerful move. You have to take advantage of it. Yeah, we see a bit of a bonk there. I think I know exactly what caused that. That was pressing wide, because that impacts movement. You always have to be careful as Worm, because all your moves slow you like weirdly different amounts. You have to make sure you're aware of how your movement's going to change when you press a button, and adapt your, your physical movements of the joystick accordingly so you don't bonk. It's one of the harder parts of playing the character.
Yeah. In general, one of the harder parts of transitioning to MnS from any other bullet hell is that the movement options are really crazy in this game. Like, even if you play the first character you'll ever play, Frost, the way she moves is going to be very different depending on what attack you use.
Oh, and it looks like Sans takes the set. Cyber was making a bit of a comeback there, but was not able to close it out.
Yeah, I think that was winnable for both players, but Sans did pretty well.
Alright, let's see, what match have we got next? Next we will have TDK versus Neko Silviu. Always exciting to see a fellow TO in the tournament. The longtime host, for those in the beginner scene who may not be aware, since it has been gone for a bit, but the longtime host of the longest running tournament series in Maiden Spell history by a mile, Awakening the Maiden. I don't believe any tournament's come close to its number of entries, has it?
No. The next closest tournament was probably, how many Spellbirdas were there?
Oh, Spellbirder was way before my time. I'm not sure.
There might have been 15. I don't remember. It was either like 10 or 15.
That's like barely a third. I think there's been like 50 Awakening the Maidens, so...
Yeah, and I think Neko has hosted most of the Awakening the Maidens. The old host, Elios, I have not seen in a long time.
Yeah, we've also had Mothfan hosting some of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Apparently,
and that's happening tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, we're getting in the chat. 59 is the one that's happening tomorrow. Awakening the Maiden 59. Let's go ahead and join Spectate.
Okay, Jay says 15, I think. I assume referring to the Spellbirdas, so that would have been the second longest. Oh, maybe Stargazers has gone longer by now, actually.
No, Stargazers only had like 15, I think. Nowhere close to 50.
Let me check. Well, it wasn't close, but it was around 15. I need to look this up now. Hold up.
Alright, so into this next match, we're going to have, I believe, a Hood mirror. TDK, I've only seen play Hood. Neko, I've also only seen play Hood. So, I would be quite surprised if we get anything other than a Hood mirror. Take a look at the bracket real quick before we get into game.
Oh, Jay says 18. So Stargazers would be the second longest one.
Hey, another first-time chatter. 2 first-time chatters cheering on TDK. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, this is Main Spell, a bullet hell fighting game. Probably the only game in its genre currently. If you're interested, be sure to check it out on Steam. It's pretty cheap. And maybe you can win the next beginner tournament.
It is possible.
We are indeed getting into the hood mirror with Neko taking an early lead. I believe a mouse player, so maybe we'll see some unique mouse hood player tech. I don't know if I've ever seen a hood player who plays mouse before. Yeah, so another thing I'm seeing, both players so far have kept up on wide. I think that's something that's like really underrated, as I mentioned earlier. You gotta have that wide up at all times.
Yeah.
And TDK, after taking the first hit, now has not taken another and takes the first card.
There used to be a player called Hydroclops, or I guess Hydro's still around sometimes. They were really good at using wides in the middle of basic strings.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen them briefly, but never in game, just in the Discord. And we see both players kind of sitting still a bit there. It's definitely very important when you're fighting Hood to not stay at the same angle to her, because otherwise everything will just stack on top of itself, and you might actually get checkmated, and you should never get checkmated by Hood, so always make sure you're redirecting those kunais, staying on the outside of basic where possible.
Yeah, I think TDK has had a bit of an advantage most of the time in this set, in this card rather, at least because TDK has been, not right now maybe, but TDK was generally a little further away from the wall and was able to have a bit more room to work with, I noticed.
Yeah, the chat saying that AOS2 exists. I definitely know it exists, but from what I've seen and played a little bit of it, it seems different enough. I don't know if I would call it the same genre as MnS. It seems much
I
more
would not
towards,
call it the same genre.
much more towards the fighting game side of the spectrum.
Yeah. Although, the other day, Rui did kind of, said some things that convinced me that maybe they're a little more similar than I thought. I still think MnS is its own thing.
Hello, Rui. You know what character Rui plays? I've never actually seen them in game.
Might have been Arcanist, I'm not 100% sure. Haven't played Rui in a while.
Alright, well, we'll get to see later. Also, yeah, sorry if I missed chat. I do have only one monitor, so it's a little bit hard for me to keep up. Apparently, Rui in the chat saying that they play Sun/Arc, so that's cool. Love to see those characters represented. Getting back into the next hood mirror. Ooh, yeah, forced to DS. We see one of those instances where TDK just kind of sat still and let the knives stack up. Definitely don't do that. I was forced to DS. Something I've always thought it's kind of interesting about like hood mirrors, and sun vs hood is that DS is all about pride. There's barely ever points where you are forced to use it, so it's just all about, do you think you're good enough to survive this situation? Or are you going to admit defeat and press DS? Most matchups aren't really like that.
That is true. Although Sun does have the funny 6 Sunburst combo that she can still use in the mirror.
Oh yeah, I have never seen another player do that on purpose that isn't me.
Oh, you'll have to watch me more then. I only do it once in a blue moon.
I do it pretty much. I think the main practical application of it is when you DS while diamond spamming Lich and to spam 6 basics at the very end.
Oh yeah. It's good against Lich. Neko was making a bit of a comeback last card, but having a little trouble now and almost out.
Yeah, it looks like Neko not making much of a play for center screen. There was a bit of an opportunity there to take space, but simply stayed against the wall. I think in these sorts of matchups, it's been very important to be center screen, because then you can get more room to back up. Yeah, and I believe that's the end of the set. 2-0 for TDK. GG's to both players. So next up, we will have Villainous Preamble versus Lunary. If Vil is here.
Oh, isn't Vil Macbeth?
Yes. Oh, they're in the lobby. Okay, yeah, so they are here. Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we just need for Lunary to show up.
Should be soon, because Lunary is in chat.
Yeah, if we have any depth enjoyers out there, Lunary is the depth player this tournament. One of the most promising beginners I've seen in a long time. Manages to have real offense and real dodging with depth, something many beginners really struggle with. Feather, the resident depth fan in the chat, of course. Very happy with that. So we'll see how this goes. I thought about at one point making like a top 10 most promising beginners of all time list, since I've seen a lot of them. It could be fun to do at some point. You know, I also... Okay, apparently Lunary's having controller problems. We'll be waiting a minute. I'll just go ahead and switch to the bracket during that time. But I forgot that there's actually a set recorded of me on Illy's channel from about 1 to 2 months after I started playing. And I went back and re-watched it yesterday. And I've definitely improved a lot, but it's fun to see how my philosophy of play is essentially the same. A good learning experience, I think, to watch me play from so long ago. I suppose any videos of you playing early would be a completely different meta, though, because of how different the game was in its early days.
Oh, I think my first tournament match is on YouTube somewhere. I'll send it to you.
And maybe I'll take a look at that later. It would be fun to see where we started. Alright, hopefully Lunary can fix their controller. Okay, I think, Alright, we're just gonna move on to the next match. This one can be played later. Oh, versus Feather as well. Wow. Jay's been around a while. Okay. So we're gonna move on to Rui versus Queen. Right, so we'll just let Lunary and Macbeth play later.
Sounds good.
Alright, Doodle's in the chat, so it should not be missed here. He'll show up. Oh, what game is this? Alright, so we've got apparently someone in the chat who doesn't know what game this is. This is Maiden and Spell. It is a bullet hell fighting game that takes elements of both genres and blends them together. Unlike any other game that exists, it's like a lot about dodging, but also creating difficult patterns for your opponent. We're about to have a match. This is a beginner tournament, though. If you want to stick around, we'd be grateful to have you, and check the game out on Steam. If you're interested, it's pretty cheap, and maybe you can win the next beginner tournament. Apparently, Doodles knows this person, so that's cool. You can tell the players it's good to go. I will.
Okay.
Alright, so
okay.
I may be a little biased. I really hope we see Sun from Rui.
Yeah, understandable.
Although, Arc Mirror would be fun too, I guess. I've never seen an Arc Mirror in tournament in my entire life, so this could be the first.
Too bad Zyno and Zoran aren't here. We know how much they love Arc Mirrors.
Are those the players that played the 40-minute Arc Mirror?
Yeah.
We
We are going to see Sun Priestess.
Alright, so for those who may not be aware, me and Horai are both Sun Priestess mains, so we'll have a lot to say to Rui, I'm sure. I do like what we're seeing so far, just consistent pressure. Definitely the beginner level diamonds are going to be really powerful, so if you're just looking to win the beginner tournament, that's definitely the button to be pressing, I think. And then from Arc side, yeah, we see it from Queen. I think debuffs are really powerful in this matchup, because Sun has to sit still to do anything, so if you can just manage to keep your debuffs and not be forced to clock. Oh, but if you land clock without Dispel, that's definitely good. It can be powerful. That's like Arc's main counterplay to the channeling stuff Sun does is debuffs. Oop. So right there we saw Rui press diamonds a little bit too far. When you think your opponent's going to run at you, it's much better to just tap diamonds rather than channel it a bit, because it just went right through Queen, whereas if it was a tap, it may have been a hit. We see last heart to last heart. Rui needs to dispel, and does. And probably for that melee should have positioned a little bit farther back so the diamonds cover the exit to basic, and Queen takes the first card.
Yeah, Rui was a little trapped at the end there. Probably needed to worry about that potential basic little... Oh no!
Yeah, what we saw again was more diamonds from Rui that were placed a little bit too far. As Sun, you always have to be aware of your character's... the fact that your projectiles just don't have a hitbox when they spawn, so you need to make sure you're respecting your opponent's ability to hold forward and place those layers, you know, in front of them rather than on top of them. Alright, we have the Dispel forced out. This is Queen's chance to go in and get a clock in just 2 seconds. It's trapped on the bottom wall, and Queen is on their last heart.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Against Sun, you have to be ready to make quick decisions when it comes to dodging those wides, or else basic is going to get you.
Yeah, I really like what we saw from Rui there is one of my favorite techniques that I like to call closing the door, where you force someone to run forward with basic, and then you just press tap diamonds in their face. Alright, we have a clock. Ooh, just barely mistimed the moon from Queen, and Rui manages to escape without getting hit.
I think Rui did get hit by a basic, though.
Oh, well, never mind then. Alright, close game.
Ooh, those wides were tough.
Here come the diamonds. Let's see if Queen knows to go forward. Yes, perfect. Great counterplay. That is exactly how you beat diamonds. You DS and just run right in. Yep. As the game gets closer to min-wall, this will start to favor Queen more and more. Another DS forced out by diamonds. I think that one was maybe dodgeable at the beginner level. Not sure, though. Important to always preserve the DS's arc, because when you don't have debuffs for offense, Sun can just start to press buttons on you way more. Good pressure. Rui going in for the melee. Queen manages to escape. Alright, last heart for both players. So, Queen pressed Moon a little early there. Something I learned talking to Blues is that oftentimes not pressing Moon is pretty good if you just directly have gotten a hit, because then your opponent can just use their invincibility to run into a safe spot. So holding Moon a little bit post-hit can be quite good. And we see the wall building up from Rui. Manages to take game 1.
Wow, just barely.
That was close.
Well done by both players. I've got to say, seems like they both understand how to use their characters, and that is especially something to be impressed for an Arcanist player.
Yeah, Art, not a very straightforward character. Queen has been involved in a lot of beginner tournaments and has shown steady improvement in every single one. Very impressive. Just stick with it. Learn your character. What these tournaments are for.
Of course. And compliments to Rui as well. It's nice to see some nice Sun beginner play.
Yeah. The only Sun player I think has really understood the game plan in the past that I can remember is Waffle Ingester. Most other beginner Suns have refused to press tap anything ever and simply got ran over by Frost and Worm.
I don't think I met that person.
Yeah, that was, I think they participated in the last event, but it seems Rui here does in fact know how to press tap things. So, everyone clear out maybe from the podium so the players can, yeah, there we go. Ah, they're switching sides. No, the TO's worst nightmare. No,
oh no.
Not the side switch.
When Mothfan made the little tournament setup thing for me, Mothfan conveniently added a switch sides button just for situations like this.
Alright, I managed to switch the sides. Alright, so now we're going to get into game 2 between Rui and Doodles, Queen, Wibby, whichever name you prefer. Alright, I think Sun is at her very best in the first 5 seconds of the match. She might be the very best character in the first 5 seconds. So I think it's super important to just, like, go in the first 5 seconds. Take advantage of that.
Yes, except against Frost, where you die.
Yeah, it is rather dangerous to do against Frost, but in most matchups, you're quite strong at the very beginning of the match. And we see Rui maybe playing a little over-aggressive. I do think prior to the most recent patch, patch 4, this was the correct way to play, but the buff to wide and basic have made Arc so much stronger at close range that it's almost not ever worth it to go in. It's just so risky. Ooh, Rui getting caught by the moon. Had a great setup there. Close off Queen, but a quick first card from Queen.
Yeah.
Yep, I like it. We saw some start of match pressure, but bonks wide, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We made the setup by Queen.
Just pressing wide as Arcanist in close range is really strong.
Yeah, and we're seeing some good running through diamonds by Queen, understanding the matchup, not getting scared. That's definitely what you need to do against Sun. And,
the little basic. Or little wide, rather.
Ooh, nice clock. We'll see Rui dispels. Yep. I think in this matchup, something I learned from Illy is that, like, it's really important not to get debuffed. And if you're a beginner, just focusing on that alone is oftentimes worth it if it's happening a lot. We were seeing more earlier, but Rui's done a decent job dodging them recently, and gets a nice tab diamond setup. Bonks wide on the other side of the screen, but does force clock, at least, with the basic.
Ooh.
Last heart, Rui in the corner. Can we get that moon and wide? Yep. Oh, yeah, I think that was actually a big mistake. When you've got your opponent running from moon, dropping wide to press basic feels tempting, but oftentimes it's just a mistake. You should just keep holding wide as Arc in that situation. And we get our first non-2-0 set of the day. Queen takes game 2.
Oh, Rui is switching to Arcanist.
And we're gonna get the rarest matchup in MnS right now, the Arc Mirror. I think Rui was doing fine as Sun, but we'll see how this goes. I did play a couple Arc Mirrors against Queen yesterday. So we'll see how this goes.
I wonder if they know the matchup interactions.
Well, Rui's saying that they've never played an Arc Mirror before. And I don't know if Queen had played one prior to fighting me in one yesterday, so I don't think that this is a matchup either of them is particularly experienced in. I can't say I have much to add either, because I've pretty much never played these, except I think I played a few against, like, Queen and Scape in the past, perhaps. But
I remember playing this with someone the other day, but I do not remember who it was. It might have been Queen, but I do not remember.
right, so far, Queen taking the initiative. looks like we're seeing a lot of this walling basic strat from Rui. It's a very fun strategy to use, and it has its place, but using it exclusively, it can get a bit predictable. Both players just holding wide and dropping move. I think I won't claim to fully understand it, but part of what makes this matchup like kind of cool is if you're ever in range to debuff, so is your opponent. So it's just a matter of baiting it out, knowing when to press, when to not. Seems like there's a lot of depth there, but I don't really know, to be honest.
I think the mirror with the most depth is the depth mirror.
I've barely ever seen that one. But it seems like it would just go on forever if both players are really good.
It's the least fun mirror, in my opinion. Anyway, Queen has taken the first card. It's interesting. I don't think we mentioned it. We saw a situation earlier where death toll almost mattered.
People sleep on death toll. Death toll matters more than you think, especially at like small walls. Oh.
Ooh, this is going to be tough for Rui, but Rui escapes and gets the hit.
An excellent weave through the wide. That famous back and forth movement that Blues has told us works against Arc. I don't know if Rui has been reading the chat from Blues or just figured it out, but good movement.
Unfortunate hit on Rui, though. Flew a little too far out of that clock.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if we're seeing focus. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm playing the game in small resolution, but if we're not seeing it, focusing and pressing basic gives a completely different angle sometimes for Arc, so mixing that up can be very useful.
It's a different attack.
Yeah, basically. 2 hearts to 2. Rui going for more basic stacking, but Queen sidestepping them effectively. Ooh, another close sidestep by Queen. And Rui stuck in the corner, but a bonk from Queen. When we see it again, Queen dropping wide when Rui is in a tough spot to basic and just lets them out for free. Definitely you shouldn't do that. You should just hold wide most of the time.
Ooh. That was very close, but I believe that was Toxic getting the last hit.
Indeed it was. And Doodles will move on 2-1. That was a pretty good set, I think. Well played by both players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sun's win rate in these continues to be bad, unfortunately. I think Sun is probably the lowest win rate character in beginner tournaments that I've ever run.
That's interesting.
I would have thought Sun would be a really good beginner character, what with diamonds and everything, but it just turns out to not be true for some reason.
Yeah. I would think so too, but easy to use doesn't necessarily translate to easy to win with.
Very true. Alright, so now we'll try to get the match we missed, Lunary versus Villainous Preamble, who I believe also is a Sun player, so we'll get some more Sun.
That's cool.
And yes, it does appear Lunary has fixed their controller.
Awesome. Figuring out whose mat to sit on. I will be right back, actually.
Alright. Alright, so since they're tagged as Macbeth here, I will put them as Macbeth in game. Almost forgot to change the 1 because these sets are usually 2-0. Alright, yeah, people pointing out Lunary has the intermediate tag. I'm not sure, because I think that's the one it gives you by default. So maybe Lunary just never bothering to change it. Alright, and we're getting into Sun versus Depth. This matchup can be really hard for Depth at the beginner level if you don't know Sun's moves don't have a hitbox at first. But if you do know that, it can become pretty easy. Cat is one of the better moves in the game at getting through Sun pressure because it has such a low cooldown. If you use it whenever Sun uses diamonds, you only have to live for 2 seconds to get Cat again, because the cooldowns are about 2 seconds apart, I think. Maybe closer to 3 ever since the death nerfs, but still, that's not too bad. Ooh, and we see a bit of teleporting diamonds. Maybe some lag. I'm not sure if that was just spectator side or if the player saw it too, but it certainly looked like the way Lunary was moving, that was also player side. Ooh, and we see some beginner diamond dodging. Right?
Hello,
And-
I'm back. Unfortunate basic hit on Macbeth there.
Lunary taking the first card. Something I think Macbeth could be doing is... Alright, there we see some tap. But a lot of the time, yeah, we're seeing these layers be placed kind of far apart. As Sun, you want to stack your attacks a bit more than this, otherwise they become a little too easy to run through.
Oh, not the double hit!
Ooh, yeah, Lunary understanding how to get through Sun's pressure very well and closing it out. I think,
Wow.
yeah, when you fight depth, as any character, it's very important to make sure you don't let depth set up horizontal basic for free. Because if you do that, depth's pressure just becomes so much weaker. So important to just not allow that. And you always have to be repositioning. Like, you have to, I think, if you're not prepared to think into the future and what depth's next setup is going to be, you might struggle in this matchup. Ooh, almost gets hit in the back with the backstab basic.
I think Sun is a little stronger than most characters against horizontal basic.
I've never really thought about it. Maybe, I'll take your word for it. Oh, we see... Yeah, actually, Lunary there probably shouldn't have pressed basic. If Lunary had waited, it would have probably been a checkmate either way. But, works out. Yep, just running right through the diamonds. Perfect counterplay. And, yeah, Macbeth had to get out of there a little sooner. If you just focus on your own offense and sit behind, sit behind depth basic, you're gonna lose. Oh yeah, anyone who's in losers round 1. Yeah, Cyber and Neko can play.
I did play this matchup a bit with Lunary the other day, so wonder if they learned from that. When I play as depth into Sun, I do try to do horizontal basics because that's what I'm used to, but I also try to just be confident and run through Sun's stuff and try to corner her.
Yeah, that's definitely really strong if you're prepared to do it.
Yeah. And a dominant second game by Lunary.
Lunary definitely showing prowess with the depth. Very good play. Macbeth played decently as well. Unfortunately, sat behind depth basic a few too many times. Definitely where you stand is really important in that matchup.
Absolutely.
You just cannot allow depth to set up on you. You have to always be on the move. Alright, so we have... I've given losers permission to play. We'll see if that ever gets reported. Alright. So our final match of winners round 2 will be a plain bowl of white rice, who I would say is the favorite to win this event, versus Sans.
Yeah, White Rice, I don't see them playing that often, but I used to see them around in the lobbies a little more.
I would say, have you ever played against White Rice?
I think I did once, or twice.
It's
I
an
don't remember that
experience.
well.
In my opinion, they are the very best player I've ever fought, other than Mincole, at abusing ping.
Oh, I guess you never fought Quetzal then.
No. I mean, not to say, I don't mean that just has bad ping, I mean it using ping to their advantage.
Oh, I see.
Like, White
I don't
Rice
know if Quetzal
knows
really
that the
abused
ping
it.
is bad and takes advantage of it in every way it's possible to take advantage of it.
Alright, we'll see how that goes. What is White Rice doing? That is one way to start the match.
I missed it, I was updating the pretty cards. What happened?
Oh. Yeah, White Rice kind of just went into the corner and took a basic. I don't know what was up.
We see the wall going up, but White Rice bonking a lot against the worm pressure. And yep, you see, that's what White Rice's specialty is, in my opinion. Post hit, goes in with wide, and then tries to melee. And with the ping, it's pretty difficult to live as some characters.
Oh, basic to the face after the flash step. That is an unfortunate positioning.
And we have Sans taking the first card. Getting sniped out by the basics, unfortunately. I actually think this is one of the matchups of Storm where Cap is a little bit more viable if you want to use it, because you can just kind of go around worm pressure. But walling is still, of course, preferred if you can use it effectively. I think, at least when I played this against QP, the way you want to play as Worm is completely psychotic. You just want to be in and never leave, even if it means taking hits. Just sit on Storm the entire game, if you can. It's pretty difficult to, like, live while doing that, but if you can manage it.
Ooh, I think Novi Fire was the wrong move there. I think Sans could have escaped.
Yeah, Novi Fire defensively in this matchup is almost never correct, because Storm can place Clone on you and hold basic and you'll die. And also
Nice laser dodges by Rice.
Yeah, unless you get on the edge of a basic, you can't even go through charged basics with Novi Fire, because you basically have no movement. So it's pretty terrible defensively here. It's even kind of terrible offensively, because Storm can just DS right through it, or run away. But you can sometimes get a bit of a, you know, a check on Storm. If Storm's charging basic, you can just run up and Novi Fire. It'll hit even QP sometimes, so it'll work on anyone if that is the case. Although I don't know if the success rate is high enough for it to be worth the risk in high level. Seeing some wide bonking. I think, yeah, we're seeing some taps, but hits wide. Hanging out near Clone is an interesting proposition because it gives you early redirects, but you can never forget it's there. You always have to be aware of Clone. And Novi firing next to Clone is always wrong.
Yep.
Alright, White Rice takes the first game. With some good counterplay from Sans.
Could still go either way, yeah. Sans did pretty well. Almost won, in fact.
Oh yeah, so we're getting a question in chat. Is there a place to see the stream VODs afterwards? I do highlight them on my Twitch channel. So right here, you can take a look. I may also make a YouTube channel focused on MnS content at some point and upload them there as well. But that is yet to occur. Videos I've thought about making are how to hit people in Maiden and Spell, the difference between QP and Kuroko, offense, stuff like that. How to wall a Sun.
Sun can wall?
Yeah. Waffle walls. I mean, it's not like true.
I know. I'm just messing around.
Alright. So,
unfortunate early hit.
Well, I mean,
Tap
you have to
basically
understand,
doing its job.
you are the Sun, so if you say it's impossible, I'm just gonna give up.
No, you should still try. It is possible to wall.
I think the player who's done walling the very best from what I've seen, unless it's just you, because I haven't seen much of your play lately, is Centispeed. Their walling just seems to be a level above the other Suns at the time when I used to watch tournaments constantly.
That was a fast card.
Yeah, it seems like Sans got checked a couple times by wide and unfocused basic. Yeah, Lone placed underneath. You always got to be aware of the angles. Maybe looking at the opponent too much.
Nice lasers.
Ooh, yeah, slight
Nice Novi Fire.
It is possible to beat that. Maybe at this ping it becomes very challenging, because you do have to time it somewhat strict to go through, but I think if you do time it correctly, Storm can just hit Worm with charged melee basic. We're down to our last heart of this card. Yeah, you love to see that. I think what Sans is doing here of pressing basic and then laser second is one of the best things you can do in this matchup, because you're placing hitboxes around Storm and the laser forces Storm to try to navigate away, and bonking basic becomes pretty likely at that point. Alright, this is the opportunity to reposition, needs to go under, or just get a hit. Yep, attempted a revenge hit from Rice, but Sans evades it. Lead even more. Yeah, it looks like Rice is getting a little afraid to put down basics for a second there. I think even if you are playing Tap Storm, some amount of charge basics just to reduce your opponent's movement options, it's pretty good. And almost an effective Novi Fire, but just get sniped out of it again. That's why you should just pretty much never use it defensively. Just trust your dodging, get out of there. The Storm can really punish you for not moving. And for moving.
This is Sansa's last chance to bring it to game 3.
Yep, last heart. Both players needs to dodge.
Oh no!
Very close. I think,
yeah, those Storm angles are tough.
There was good counterplay to the walling with the laser offense from Sans, but unfortunately was not prepared for the tap offense and managed to get caught by the awkward angles a couple too many times.
Oh, Cyber might be forfeiting, it seems.
Unfortunate, looks like Cyber has forfeit. Alright. So we'll get the losers matches off stream real quick. I'll announce those. Alright, and then now for our on-stream match, we'll have... Oh, look at that. The two friends. I believe, anyway, they said they were friends. Lunary and TDK, who I believe trained offline against each other for 30 hours before joining this server.
Is that so? That is pretty impressive. Also, I can hear myself a bit out of your mic. Again.
Oh no, not again. Let me go to my settings again. Adjust that just a bit. Is my audio still coming through okay?
Let's see. Well, I can't hear myself anymore.
Good.
Oh, well that time I did, but I spoke a little loud.
I guess the other thing I can try is turning your volume down just a little bit. Okay.
Alright.
This should help.
It looks like Lunary and TDK are playing.
Yeah, so oh, am I not... Did their match begin?
Oh, they're not playing. They're just in the match. They just...
Yes,
yeah, you can still spectate. It's all good.
Yeah, we have a question
all
in the
good.
chat. Is CDK the best Red Hood in the bracket? Well, only one way to find out. Play out the tournament, see if they place the best. So these two players have played a good bit against each other, I believe. So we'll see if, you know, just how it goes. This definitely is on the opposite ends of the scale difficulty-wise. We have the easiest character for beginners and the hardest.
Indeed.
I have seen both. I've watched them play friendlies. I've seen them both win games, so I think this could go either way. When you have depth in the game, it usually comes down to how well depth plays. Who will win.
Ah, yes, the good old single-player game. Nice dodge by TDK.
It looks like TDK has a pretty good understanding of how to run offense, is spamming attacks a lot, using a mixture of different kunais, always keeping wide, and also taking advantage of the different charge times of basic. So, using every tool, but will they use the tools well enough? That's the important question. And only one hit, we're getting to min walls already. Very impressive play on both sides, I believe, for a beginner tournament.
Wow.
Something I noticed when playing both of them is that these players are very good at dodging for their hours. It's honestly kind of insane. So, I suspect we will go to min walls multiple times in this set, potentially. Unfortunately, Lunary taking some hits, unable to land checkmates so far, aside from one. Ooh, that was brave. But both players somehow escape with no hit there. I think TDK charging basic a little bit too much there, allowing Lunary to easily sidestep. You need to mix it up some, so sidestepping will get you killed sometimes. Takes the first card. I've noticed that TDK appears to be giving pretty good horizontal basics to Lunary with decent frequency. Lunary also just finding good opportunities to use them, though.
Ooh, the wide.
Yeah, I also like that we haven't seen too many suicidal shotguns. Even me, when I play Depth, pressing shotgun is often just a death sentence. So knowing when to use it is so important. Yeah, this is great play. A lot of times what you want to do with Depth is just basic and then just sit on it. Like whatever gap your opponent goes to, be it above the basic or below, just threaten it by standing there. Wait for your opponent to make a decision and close off the gap. That's something I think a lot of beginner Depth players fail to do, because they'll just sit too far back and allow their opponent to run around their setup. We're not seeing that from Lunary. That's the other side of things. You have to deal with the full force of your opponent's offense while standing there, and TDK takes the first game.
Well done by TDK. Pretty dominant second card.
Yeah, Jayfeather saying Depth herself is a hitbox basically for that purpose. Very true. That's a good way to think about it. You just want to plug up your wall with your character. I do think this is probably a matchup where you want to start off trying to melee as Depth. You can sometimes get some cheese hits if you just sit on someone and press wide when the game starts. Especially Hood, who doesn't really have much in terms of melee counterplay. Ooh, good cat.
That was pretty good dodge by TDK. Ooh! Nice job.
Yeah, something I think we could see a little bit more of from Lunary is these moments where Lunary is following the basic and just waiting to follow up on the checkmate. Just press wide a couple of times. Sometimes that random floating wide can close off a checkmate. It happens more often than you'd think. I believe that was just a wide bonk there, so yeah. Just having wide on the field, just that little bit of extra mental energy for your opponent, it can make a huge difference. Similar to how Hood should just keep wide on the opponent at all times. Because ever since the patch, Depth pressing wide doesn't really offer much of a commitment from her, so just press the button. We're seeing a very good card from Lunary, is yet to take a hit, and the game closes into min walls, so TDK is going to have to do some pretty good dodging and bonks. Yeah, Jayfeather in the chat saying that focusing on survival is the best in this matchup for Depth. I'll definitely believe Jay, currently the best Depth player. And yeah, when I said melee, I was kind of just talking about specifically the very start of the match. But that's probably just my Sun bias, because it's good to do that as Sun a lot of times.
Well, Lunary did get a hit at the start of this card by putting on some early pressure with shotgun into wide. So perhaps there is some merit to it.
Another perhaps not so often talked about thing with both of these characters is the power of pressing the focus button. Because focus shotgun is much better at tracking people who are trying to circle you than normal shotgun. And for Hood, holding focus just in general to target your basics better is really powerful. Because I've done some analysis of Frog, the best Hood player of all time, no contest. And the thing that I think Frog does differently than all the other Hoods that makes their offense so strong is just pressing focus a lot to aim basic. I wouldn't have thought it'd make such a huge difference, but it really seems to. It just makes Hood's offense so much more powerful. And then if you want to see the other side of Hood, I think Illy is very good at playing, as weird as it sounds, melee Hood. Illy has some very weird setups for getting out of close range with tap basic. The Illy, YouTube Illy MnS is where you can find some of those videos.
Ooh, the triple shotgun. Always gotta watch out for that one.
Lunary takes the second game. Going into game 3. Alright, no early hits this time, so we're off to the races. See if Lunary opts to bring this to small walls.
Oh no.
You notice anything from either player that you think could be improved on? Anything obvious?
Let's see. Let me watch TDK a bit, because I was watching Lunary a little just now. Oh, it's a lot of unfortunate bonks.
Sometimes his depth, you just lose. Depth is hard.
Yeah. It's hard to say right now because they're fairly evenly matched, and they're both playing fairly well, I've got to say.
Yeah, these two players I've always just been so impressed by when I watch them because they seem to just have a good understanding of how to play their characters and their role in these matchups, and just pretty good dodging. Definitely on their way to being intermediates and maybe experts in the future if they stick around. When was the last time we had someone start with depth and reach expert? Has that ever happened?
No.
Did J Feather start with Frost? Was Airvent considered an expert ever, or was Airvent always?
No, I don't believe so. Metafire might have started with depth.
Oh yeah, I think Metafire did start with depth, because I've watched really old matches of Metafire playing depth. Were they considered expert?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so I guess the last time, because I was thinking about this, the last time a player started as a character and reached expert, or for depth, it would probably be Metafire, which is an extremely old school player. It has been a long time.
Yeah. I don't know what Uomi has started with. I think they played a couple other characters besides depth.
I mean,
but they were mostly depth.
The character, yeah, I think that's fine. If you play other characters, it's no big deal. It's just like, who do you play the most? And if you mess around as a beginner, you know, no big deal. You're just trying to find who you like. But we have Lunary on their last heart. Needs to survive this setup in the corner. Risky stuff, but manages to escape.
Ooh, that bonk is going to be huge. Giving Lunary a second chance, and Lunary takes it!
Wow. That was a very important series of interactions for Lunary to win. And now we're on the last card of this set. Oh yeah, that was a bit of a tough setup. If you can ever, as Hood, like, once you're past the basic level of playing her, something you can start thinking about is how your projectiles come in at different angles. I think when your attacks come in at different angles, it's so much more powerful than if they're just coming in at the same angle. So you can, like, place kunais in one place and then quickly run somewhere else and start basicking. Yeah, like right there. EDK does it perfectly. Forces Lunary to sit inside the basic, and then the kunais come in from the top to finish it off.
Right now, I think Lunary's just not getting strong enough setups for whatever reason.
Yeah, TDK has been going around them quite nicely. Lunary doesn't appear to be committing to just camping either.
That is going to be it. Very close game. Well done by TDK.
Yeah, that midpoint is depth going to be a little risky, where you're not like going in, but you're also not camping. If you just kind of half-heartedly commit, you can just get hit sometimes. Very good set though. High level for a beginner tournament from both players. I see a very promising future for both of them. We'll take a quick look at the bracket. Oh, wrong button. This is where we are right now. EDK is the first player to reach winners finals. And then we can have... Alright, so it looks like in losers bracket we have had Rui defeat Sans and move on, and looks like Neko and Bill are just finished.
Oh, just finished, huh?
Go ahead and update that in the bracket real quick. Alright, looks like they updated it. Looks like Neko won 2-0. Moving on to the bracket. Actually, this was his forfeit, so this should be 0-1. Alright. So we will now have Lunary versus Rui off stream.
Oh, we're not streaming losers round 3?
We could. I mean, it kind of depends on how people are feeling, but I do know one of our players is from Europe, so probably don't want this to go too long.
No, fair enough.
I'll probably stream losers semis perhaps, but I think I cannot afford to stream this round.
Alright. Fair enough, I'll have to leave eventually anyway.
Alright, I guess I can fly solo or someone else can hop in. We'll see how that goes. Next up, we're going to have... Let's see, we will have White Rice versus Queen. So, I believe this is the first time Queen has reached winners semis, has entered a lot of these. Definitely their best performance ever so far. Doing very well.
Yeah, they had a well-fought match in their first round, so definitely deserved.
2-2 last tournament? Yeah, but I feel like both your winners or your wins were in losers. Yeah, but getting farther in winners, I feel like is somehow more impressive. I don't know. All right, let's go. Yeah, you last time you had a losers run. This is winners Queen, winners doodles. No L next to the name. Was I think I wasn't updating. Oh, I was updating the score. Go me. Alright, are you in spectate?
Yes, I am.
Alright, what round? Are we still in winners round 2? No, we're now in winners round 3. Or I guess
yeah, this is technically round 3.
Alright, how many viewers do we actually have? I haven't checked ever. 21, wow, that's more than I usually get. Hello everyone, I don't know exactly who's watching, but thanks for watching my beginner tournament. I much appreciate it. Alright, so we're getting right into it. Storm versus Arc. One of the awkward matchups for Storm in terms of walling because debuffs will hit at the ranges where Storm usually wants to basic. And if you land Confuse on Storm, it's extremely devastating. Storm has no offensive moves that can hit someone standing still other than basic. So if you land Confuse on Storm, Storm is pretty useless for a bit. All you can hope is for a wide bonk. But we're seeing some pretty good offense from White Rice, even managing to avoid the debuffs for the most part. And dealing with them well when they do land. And I think Queen here, sitting in the corner a bit. The wide is scary, but I think it's very important to take center screen against Storm and hold it as long as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Storm, as powerful as Storm is also fragile with the highest bonk potential in the game. So if you can force Storm into some tough situations, you'll likely get some hits, especially at the beginner level. Right, some good debuffs. His landed Paralyze. That's always a good one. But, oh, some good movement decisions there. Manages to escape the checkmate.
Good flash step.
Yeah, what I like from White Rice is just not getting caught under Moon. Always just repositioning. Not even having to worry about it. But we're now seeing the beginning for a potential setup. Alright, I like that Queen did not drop wide there. Has improved that from last round, but very good dodging from White Rice, manages to escape.
Right, yeah, those were some close wide dodges. Ooh.
A little bit of unfortunate movement there. Could have escaped, but bonks. Ooh, good redirecting. That's actually like pretty high level. Queen managed to redirect the clone so the wall wouldn't form and escape down the bottom. But having some trouble hitting White Rice. I'm trying to think, because this is, I think, technically a decently low agency matchup for Art. I think your best bet is just to go for funnels where possible, where you get Storm under Moon and just force Storm to run through wide. Go for debuffs if Storm is walling, and maybe play for endgame. So Arc probably wins endgame versus Storm, but I can't. Both characters are kind of rare, so you don't see it that often.
She probably wins, but Storm can do some stuff.
Yeah, there's some areas of the game where my knowledge, I wish it was a bit deeper, such as end games of random matchups. Okay, so we have a question in the chat. Are all the games streamed? All of winners will be streamed, and some of losers, but a lot of losers will be off-stream, just for the sake of time. White Rice off to a good lead. I think what's definitely giving White Rice the victory here more than anything else is just some pretty excellent dodging, not getting caught by arc wide, even while paralyzed. Pretty impressive. Ooh, that is a risky clock, but
it works.
Well timed. The clone disappears.
I've also noticed, I think Queen's had a bit of trouble reacting to some of the tap basics, especially, like that one.
Yeah, this match might be like 400 ping. This is like the UK versus somewhere in Asia. I don't remember where exactly, but that's pretty far. Was that game 1 or game 2?
Feel like that was game 2.
Yeah, that's game 2. Alright, GG's. Games to the players. Yeah, I think most important thing there for Doodles is to, I guess, once you land debuffs, maybe if you can, try to go in a little bit more and apply pressure. Because when you have debuffs, that's when you're at the advantage. Although it can be pretty tough, especially if that was like 400 ping. I don't know what it was. It must have been awful. I feel bad. Under 200. That's shocking. I'm surprised it was under 200.
Huh.
Yeah, getting in can be a little bit hard. You have to like weave situations. Yeah, arc can be slow. There is a technique where you can like stutter step arc wide to be faster. I'm sure Blues would be happy to explain how to do that if you don't know. Oh, it looks like Rui beat Lunary in losers. Yeah, so we have Sun moving on in the bracket.
Alright.
Yeah, much respect to Lunary for sticking it out with depth. Very good play. Hope to see more of them in the future. Because depth is one of those characters where it's a long-term investment. Alright, so we'll have our winners finals on stream, and we'll have one more match off stream in losers. Gonna have Neko versus Queen off stream. And we'll have White Rice versus TDK on stream. Hey, how much longer are you going to be around for?
Probably until the hour ends, so I might be able to finish this.
Alright. Alright, we'll take a quick look at the bracket on stream. Alright, so Rui looking to break the Sun placement record. I don't believe a Sun has ever done better than 4th place in my tournaments. So Rui on track to break that record. That was Waffle and Jester, by the way, with that score.
Oh, cool.
The previous record was Cameron at 5th.
I will be right back again.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to be getting into a plain bowl of white rice versus TDK, Storm versus Hood probably. And indeed it is. Winners finals. This one will be best of 5. So White Rice has had a pretty dominant run through the bracket so far with Storm Beast, playing very well after failing to show up to the last one. I think slept in a little too much, but that's understandable with the time zones. Looking to take their revenge and win this tournament. To see if TDK, who has not yet participated in a beginner tournament before, can manage to overcome the King Storm Beast and move on to Grand Finals winner's side. So far, White Rice off to a lead, and TDK forced to DS. I do like that TDK is keeping wide on top of White Rice, making the bonk potential as high as possible. That is your job as Hood. Just make your opponent as likely to bonk as possible. And we do see the first hit, but TDK already down to their last heart. Now, I think we're seeing a couple too many unfocused kunais from TDK. Storm is so fast that going around those is usually not a problem. Unless you're really confident you can set them up well, just go for a focused matchup. Oh, we might be seeing someone listening to commentary mid-game, because we immediately see a switch to the focused. But it maybe was a coincidence, because right back to unfocused after that. Yeah, it is a coincidence. Welcome back. After the stream, I might do a quick showcase of a thing, because I think there's something for Storm that QP does that no one else does that's really strong. I think people should know about it. All right,
Oh, okay.
Game 1 goes to White Rice.
Hopefully I'll still be there.
So I think what we've seen in many of these matches with White Rice is just that their dodging is a level above the other players here. So they're able to stay alive and apply pressure very effectively. On immediately bonking wide from TDK. Yeah, sometimes Storm White is just like that. Especially playing with players so much higher ping. Decent setup there. Yep. Here we go, hits White Rice. That's one of the good unfocused kunai uses there. If you can manage to use basic, keep your opponent in place. White Rice forced to DS. Yeah, it seems White Rice favors more of a mixed style, not committing to walling quite as hard as some players do. But still going for it sometimes. Bonks the wide.
That would have been a really nice unfocused knife there. Or focused knife, rather.
White Rice
Back
really
in the corner.
seems to favor center clone, which I can't say I blame them. Center clone is good, but there are times I think when edge clone is maybe better. Yep, and here we see it right there. Getting in there. I don't actually think DS was necessary there from TDK, but I guess it's fine to just use it if you think you need to.
That's what it's for. I think it is really difficult to win against Storm as Red Hood if you just play your usual game. The Storm is just so fast.
What do you think Hood needs to do differently to make it happen?
Try to get hits in close range.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Okay. Normally when I play this matchup, it's just with like Zale, and Zale runs at me the whole game, so I don't really need to worry about that. But I guess against a more passive Storm, maybe going in is useful.
Yeah. Well, I guess it has to do with the fact that White Rice is playing a bit passive, but sometimes, as Capsule once said, you need to be the Storm Beast to defeat the Storm Beast.
Right? The player's thinking it's BO3. One more chance. Yeah, tap basic at close range might be pretty strong, because with Storm's speed, it's pretty likely to bonk in the other hit, the side hits of the tap basic. I've listened to some of Illy's playing, and Illy seems to think very, very highly of melee tap basic from Hood. So
it is a very good move.
Probably pretty strong.
It's kind of its best move.
Ooh. Other wide bonk. I think TDK maybe getting a little bit too comfortable. Yeah, just moving a little too much. I think what's important as well against Storm is not just to not move, but understand which directions are more safe than others. If you can ever line up the Storm Beast and the clone, you can run straight in and it will be perfectly safe almost always. And if you can run straight towards one of them and like not straight towards the other, then it's like a little bit safe. But if you're running straight towards neither, it's very dangerous. That's how you can tell like which direction you need to be more careful in as any character in fighting Storm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of knives from TDK that would have been better off focused.
Yeah, it's something I see from a lot of beginner hoods. They just don't know they should be using focused kunai more. And the hoods that win tend to use them a lot. Like Sonya and Sappy, two of my hood winners, and I guess also Triple. That Grand Finals was pretty funny. There was one where it was a hood mirror and both players sat at opposite ends of the screen.
Interesting. Oh, nice knife hit.
That was peak beginner game fate. Yeah, we're seeing some very heavily charged basics, which can sometimes be good, but against a character fast like Storm at a long distance, they're just easy to go around. But look at that, TDK takes the card, still in it. I think for Hood, a lot of this matchup is also just endurance. I think if you can just like survive for a while, eventually Storm will bonk. Eventually. Fortunate wide bonk there by TDK. But goes in and gets a hit. Good offensive pressure. Forces the DS from White Rice. Yeah, these unfocused kunai really are just weakening the offense so much. Ooh, needed to commit down there. You have to know when to commit to moving to get out of checkmates. If you hesitate, you just get stuck. This is an interesting clone position, but EDK unfortunately did not path great, but manages to get a hit to escape. When Storm's building a wall like that, you need to decide which side has more space, and generally that's the one you should path to. And White Rice takes the game.
Close game, but that is going to be a 3-0.
Moves on to winners finals, or grand finals winners side. 3-0.
Breathing is important.
Did Neko vs. Queen happen? It looks like it's happening now, so that's what we're waiting on. We actually have no matches available until that ends. So, we're just gonna wait. If you want to join up, I can do the tech showcase now, I guess. Get
Oh, sure, why not? What character do you want me to play?
Any, doesn't matter. Just play a character that's not gonna die.
Okay.
So, for anyone in the chat, QP is the best Storm player, maybe ever, probably ever, I think, at this point. I think there's one thing about QP's offense that I've watched other Storms play I don't see getting done very much at all. So, oftentimes what QP will do is place a center clone and do something like this. Go to mid-screen, because often it's like best at mid-screen. Alright?
Oh, I'll attack you.
I don't want to be attacked. I'm doing a tech
Oh,
demo.
you want me to go to mid-screen like this?
Yeah, just sit there and don't do anything. But if you can ever like line up like this, whoops, just this this little wall. I can't actually stand ideal, but like something like this. What this does is it forces your opponent to choose a side. So it essentially makes you only have to checkmate a screen half as big, and you don't have to do it straight vertical. You can do it kind of like this too. And then you just pick a side. But the whole pick a side minigame is a really, really strong part of what QP does. I don't see people try to do this very much, where they just line up behind clone and just say pick a side. Like right there, you have to pick a side.
Yeah, thank you for showcasing this, because I have not been doing this as Storm.
I think this is incredibly strong, and Storm players should do it a lot, because Edge Clone is powerful because it just denies a direction, but something like that, it just forces your opponent to play with half his screen. Yeah, alright, you can kill me now. That was the tech demo. Hopefully that was educational for chat. I think there are a few experts watching, so maybe you'll now have a better understanding of how Storm offense works.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I need to practice that a bit more, because I know I have not been doing that, and I've been trying to figure out how to play Storm like QP, and I knew something was missing from the walling style.
Maybe that's it.
That might have been it. And it looks like the other game is done.
Alright, so we'll see how that went. They may update it on the website. Neko the TO probably is going to be updating the score in true TO fashion. Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like the score is updated.
Many thanks to Neko for a lot of tournaments hosted. Thanks for playing in this one, and congratulations on winning a set. Who is Max and who is Horai? I was the Storm in that demo. I don't know what else you would mean by that question.
Oh, maybe Lunary doesn't know which voice is which. Hi, I'm Horai.
I am Max. I suppose that also could have been the meaning of the question. Yeah, I am Max. Yeah, okay. Yeah, by voice.
Okay.
Okay, so next up we're going to have, let's see, what match? Go ahead and throw it over the bracket real quick. We're going to have loser semis, Queen versus Rui. And this is a rematch. This was a really close set before. We had it 2-1. Rui decided to go to the Arcanist mirror and lost game 3. Maybe this time Rui will stick it out with the Priestess.
Perhaps.
Alright, so unfortunately there's no records to break for Queen. We've already had an ARC winner of a beginner tournament, so that record can't be broken. It can just be matched. But if Rui wins this set, it would be the greatest performance by a Sun player ever in my beginner tournaments, at least.
Who was the ARC winner? Do you mean, was YLT a winner?
JWR Miso was the ARC winner.
Oh, I see.
Very, very good player. Unfortunately, I don't see them around too much. Maybe that's just time zones. They are a Japanese player. But I was very impressed by their gameplay. Managed to take a tournament I thought was very free for Game Freak. That was when Game Freak was on the rise. That was looking to be a free tournament for Game Freak, but JWR Miso came out of nowhere and stole it.
Interesting.
Alright, so this round is losers, semis. This is still best of 3 on this side. Hope you get better soon, Neko. Thanks for playing in the event.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Neko. I hope you feel better as well.
Yeah, so the characters I've had win my tournaments are... I've had Lich win once, that was Game Freak. 3 Hoods, and those were Sappy, Sonya, and TripelTheFox. And then we had 1 ARC, Miso. So it looks like we're going to have another character added if White Rice continues the warpath.
You know who I'm Just EP is?
That is Scape.
Ah, okay. No wonder they were strong.
Yeah, Scape is a player who needs to have a bigger ego. Scape is like actually pretty good, but wears the beginner tag for no reason.
Well, I thought Scape wore the intermediate tag.
I think they used to. But what Scape is, I think, really good at is 2 things. And they're kind of the same. Novi Fire and Clock. Scape is really good at pressing Novi Fire as Worm, but quit Worm a while back because some of Worm's matchups are really bad. I have to agree with that sentiment. I think pretty good at landing Clocks with Arcanist. And just playing Arc in general. One of the more promising Arc mains we've had in recent times.
Yeah. Actually, when I fought them the other day, they were playing Sun of all things.
Oh, really? Sun? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they were pretty good too.
Always love to see more Sun Priestess. And then we got some right here. Rui managing to go forward, dodging those debuffs. Bit of a wide bonk there, unfortunately. Something I'm seeing right now is that Rui is not really layering the pressure together, and some good diamond dodging by Queen. But his Sun just doing wides far apart is going to present very little in terms of an obstacle for the opponent. Yeah, very good through the diamonds by Queen. But you really do have to layer up that pressure and position yourself such that it layers up where the opponent is going to move. It takes some practice, but if you can get it down, like right there, that was much better. You keep your opponent in the corner. And oftentimes, just spamming diamonds itself isn't good once people get good enough. So what you need to do is start with waffles and then finish off with diamonds when they try to walk through. Either tap at close range or just a channel one at long range. Ooh, unfortunately leaving clock. Yeah, it doesn't give that much invincibility. But I believe, I might be wrong, but I think when clock vanishes, you get a little bit more, right?
That sounds correct.
Clock is a weird move. And Rui takes the first card.
Well done by Rui.
I'm not sure what Queen's game plan is. Something that I've talked about with them in the past is that there was a time where Queen was just going in, I think, a little too much. Because it's Arc, you don't have to go in, because your end game is so powerful. All you have to do is not lose, and the win will come to you.
Ooh, unfortunate.
You don't really need to take risks. Ooh, and a clock.
Ooh.
Let's see if the setup is done correctly. Oh, that was actually perfectly timed. That was excellent, but dispels out. But we've definitely been practicing those clock setups. And manages to dodge a tap diamond as well. Yeah, I think Queen is a really inspiring improvement story. Their dodging has gotten so much better over the last couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we saw more debuffs though. Ooh, another nice clock. This one will get dispelled as well, probably. Something I've seen players do, like Illy or Zale, is just do like 1 or 2 debuffs, just to see if they can get Sun to not dispel it. Kind of an interesting little mini game. Aw, getting a bit crossed up by the diamonds there. What would you do if you got clocked and Arc debuffed you only 2 times? Would you press dispel?
Depends on what they are. Sometimes I will get 3 debuffs and not do it because I feel like the Arcanist is just being lazy and not spamming all the debuffs because I have to spell up. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
But it depends on what they are. If it's Toxic, Mini, and Death Toll, I'll take it. If it's Paralyzed, Confused, and Slow, I don't think I'll take it.
Yeah, those are certainly more threatening, though. I think Sun is one of the characters that takes Confuse the very best. Some characters just fail to do anything with Confuse, like Frost and Storm especially are awful. But Sun, when confused, is still pretty decent. Ooh, another good call.
Yeah, you gotta move vertically against that Arcanist.
Yeah, just running straight away from clock is not all that good. Running up is much better.
Yeah. I think this is another matchup where center control is pretty important, especially like in the early game. When Arcanist is waiting for the walls to close in, both characters want to be in the center, because if Arcanist is not in the center, she gets walled out, and Sun will be in a similar predicament if she does not hold the center.
Yeah, I agree, because as Sun in this matchup, it feels like one of the ones where waffle walling is the very strongest, because Arcanist's defensive special is pretty weak and has a long cooldown. So if you can take center control, because of how slow Sun's projectiles move, they'll just be closer to being forced to die, because they're closer to the wall if you have center.
Yeah. Queen was doing some pretty nice anti-melee, by the way, earlier. I noticed getting the clock in the middle of all those breakfast setups, although Rui was mini at the time, so made it a little easier.
Now the last heart, Rui going in. Doesn't bonk wide. Queen going for some debuffs, but is forced to clock. Oh! Alright, that was a really close game. These players are quite evenly matched. 1-0 for Rui. This one's only best of 3, so on set point now. What's our view count at? I'm currently at 19, still pretty decent. Thanks to all the viewers for sticking around. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see everyone here. I think calling it a beginner tournament draws in a lot of new players.
I mean, it is a beginner tournament.
Well,
I mean, white rice.
I mean, just having a beginner tournament at all encourages people to join, is what I mean to say.
It's something I've noticed over the course of hosting beginner tournaments, though, is that some are more real than others. Like, beginner tournaments 4 and 5 were a lot more real than, like, beginner tournaments 3 and 6. This one, the players are a lot stronger than some previous ones. Oh, here come the diamonds.
But a lot of them are, in fact, beginners.
Oh, certainly. I mean, there's a spectrum among beginners. Some they've been playing a little bit longer, don't bonk nearly as much, have better offense. Even if they're still beginners, it's still not an ultra beginner, I guess. Ooh, wow, what great anti-melee from Queen. That was some good dodging around the diamonds in basic.
That was a tough situation. That's what Sun loves.
Queen was avoiding them really well, but unfortunately, you also need to apply pressure. That's the hard part about this game. Even if you're dodging, if you're not applying pressure, you're losing.
Absolutely. Another difficult thing to get used to as a bullet hell player. Your dodging ability alone is not going to be enough.
Yeah. Queen playing very aggressively right now. I think Queen might be reverting back to their old mentality of just needing to go in when you really don't. These matches were going much better when Queen was hanging back, looking for the debuffs and stalling it out. Gets confused. Not bad.
I think one good way for Arcanist to put on more pressure without taking much risk herself, which Queen is not doing right now, is just some basic layering.
Yeah, that's one of those forbidden techs that just isn't used all that much, but it's pretty strong, I think.
Oh, yeah, that is my go-to tech as Arcanist when I'm not doing anything else. I try to layer basics.
Good games, and Rui becomes the highest placing Sun player in my tournament series history.
Well done, Rui.
Was that 2-1 or 2-0? I think it was 2-0. Yeah?
Yes.
And well done to Queen, getting 4th. A regular participant, constantly improving. Keep up the good work. I think, yeah, just in general, one thing people don't do enough in this game is when you hit people, a lot of people just go in, but when you land a hit, it's often good, I think, to back up, put something down, and then walk forward with it, because an offense layered is so much stronger than just offense unlayered. Because even for like Hood, if you back up and shoot a basic and then run in and shoot another, it's just so much stronger than just sitting back and shooting 2 basics.
I think that is true for literally every character except for Depth.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't.
Oh, maybe except for Lich, but Lich can kind of do it.
Well, Lich doesn't really play by the rules that most characters do.
Okay, that's true.
But even with Depth, I think when I land a hit, I often back up and press basic, so it'll be a little bit bigger when it gets near them, and they can't go around it as easily. Not really layering, but it's still backing up. Especially Frost. I think that's something Frost players should do more, is when they land a hit, just back up and do a ton of unfocused basic. So no matter what direction people go, they'll be forced into it, and you can go in with focus basic. Alright, so that was that set. Now we have losers finals. This one will be best of 5. Rui versus TDK. Exodia. Exodia is very strong in
It actually does work in the mirror.
I see Game Freak do it in every matchup. Game Freak's butterflies are just better than everyone else's, I think, both with the desyncs and the positioning.
Right.
That's the thing I'm always impressed most by when I watch Game Freak videos. The thing I most look at is the butterflies. Right? Hopefully the players will start eventually. We're currently still on schedule. I try to keep these under 3 hours. We're well on course for that to happen right now.
Yeah.
Alright, we have Rui versus TDK. It would be too much to ask for the players to be on the same side, I guess, so... Let's redo the overlay again. Alright, so this should be Sun versus Hood, which apparently I've been told is a very classic matchup from Spellberta days.
Yes, it was. Because that's when a lot of the old Suns and Hoods were active at the same time.
Yeah, I think this is another really important center control matchup. Because Sun's offense is much more real when you have center screen against Hood. For kind of a similar reason, long cooldown DS, you can force Hood into the wall. And if Hood has center screen, not nearly as threatening. And then something I noticed is like Hood's best opportunity to get a hit on Sun a lot of times is when Sun is trying to hug the wall to go around Hood. Hood can try to like shoot a basic to essentially form a wall and have Sun just run into it and not be able to continue along the wall.
Yep. Well, you can if you're, it's hard.
Rui going in, I definitely agree. I think if you can go in and you're not bonking, you should. Hood is, of course, quite weak at close range, so those breakfast setups can get a lot of work done. But there are certain Hood players that I find very impossible to melee. I don't know why. It's not even like the best Hood players. They're just certain Hood players that are very good anti-melee. Like, Sonya comes to mind. I don't know why, but meleeing Sonya is simply impossible. You can't do it. At least I can't. Even when I can melee like expert Hoods. What?
Hood's anti-melee is pretty strong, I think. Tap basic is strong. Knives are strong. Wide is strong.
As options.
Yes, actually.
Certain players are better at using them, though. Right, so we had TDK, despite, I think, losing at first, taking the first card. Yeah, I like this layering from Rui. I think that's a little early to start diamonds, yeah, because they just, if you let them go for too long, it becomes much easier to dodge. That's just TDK with a basic, though. Bit of bonk there. I still think TDK, it's a problem we've been seeing, we're obviously going to continue to see it. Too many unfocused kunai. Ooh, that was a really cool setup, though.
Yeah, with focused kunai, in fact.
Yeah, and with Vanish. I think just dropping things on top of Rui inside Vanish. Quite a good setup, but loses the card. Yep, there we see the anti-melee with the focused kunai, and Rui was forced to run away and bonked on them. Right, here come the diamonds, and TDK commits in and bonks. Yeah, the game kind of enters a different mode when you start spamming Diamonds of Sun. Your only goal is to just spam more, because if there's nothing else on the screen, nothing you do is stronger than just putting down more diamonds.
That is a keyboard mash.
Alright, so I guess game 1 went to TDK.
Yeah.
Kind of... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Game 1 to TDK. This is best of 5. Losers finals. Playing it a bit at long range. I think ultra long range is honestly pretty even. Neither character is all too good at ultra long range. No character in the game really is, except, I guess, Storm Beast. If you've got a pre-existing setup, can be pretty good at ultra long range. Yep, that was a good opportunity to get a hit along the wall, but Rui's a little bit too fast, and TDK charged the basic a little bit too much. If maybe less charge on the basic, Rui would have run into it. Oh no, some unfortunate bonks. Probably didn't want the speed from diamonds there. Oh, good weave. I think Rui here should make a bid for center screen. Yep, there we go. Good play. And takes the card.
Yeah, overcommitted to that basic bit.
Yeah, layering pressure. That was very good layered pressure from TDK. Exactly what I like to see. Just run alongside your own projectiles and keep putting out pressure. Because advancing pressure is generally a lot stronger than retreating pressure. Yeah, we see TDK. I think it is easier for Hood to take center control than it is for Sun, and TDK definitely showing that off, but getting hit by a couple setups here, and now is down to their last heart. Vanish gone, and the diamonds.
Ooh.
Game for Rui.
Nice comeback by Rui, tying up the score.
One to one, close set. Yep, I like the beginning of round melee, but unfortunately follows the kunais rather than sidestepping them. Yep, there you go. That's another good thing to do when you land a hit. Just like sit on top of them and spam breakfast setup so they're forced to move. I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing from Rui's game plan. Ooh, didn't get hit by that one. Something I think is kind of underrated as Sun, I'm curious to see if you agree, is when you have like kind of a setup going, just walking up and tapping wide is often really strong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tap wide is a good move.
Yeah, but I mean particularly used in this way, like not just to get people off you, but while you're trying to kill them in a a walling setup. Especially if you can not get straight in front of them, but get a bit above or below, so it just creates a vertical, or I guess a horizontal line of waffles they have to run through, which is pretty much impossible unless they change direction. And even then your previous wall will probably cover that. Ooh, good lead. Rui. Yeah, right now we're seeing one of those situations.
Oh, go on.
Where the waffles are a little too far apart.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like it was either a stray waffle or the diamonds that caught TDK there. Couldn't quite tell.
Yeah, kind of still seeing it. As Sun, you really do need to stack your pressure. It's so important. Otherwise, the opponent will just have free movement. I think the only matchup where it's bad is Frost, because then Frost can just roll. You want to have a bit of a more spread out setup then, I think. If Frost is even kind enough to let you do it.
Worm is another character where she has to be kind enough to let you do it. So it does work.
Yeah, I mean, it's very effective if you can do it. It's kind of different from Frost where it just is useless with a roll. Aw.
Rui was doing well that card, but...
Yeah, Worm is actually awful at getting through diamonds because her DS is so bad, but it's hard to ever get them set up.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think Worm's fairly good against diamonds, though, for Worm players at least.
I'm not. No one plays Sun. It was for, like, until you came back, it was basically just me for forever.
Oh, interesting.
I had no matchup experience. I mean, there was, like, Centispeed sometimes, but they pretty much only played in tournament and never in my time.
Oh.
Like, time zone, we were just very different.
Yeah, I wonder where they've been lately.
Probably working on math. I think they were doing a math thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then there was Rem.
Kind of math.
I'm not sure the details of it.
Oh, okay.
I've always thought Rem is a really good player.
Oh, yeah.
And was also kind enough to give me a whole advice document when I first started out. I'll always be thankful for that.
That's nice.
Yeah, I basically wrote up what I thought about every matchup and got some comments where I was right, where I was wrong from Rem.
That sounds really cool.
Sadly, neither of those players was ever too active, so I didn't get to play much versus Sun against them. Alright, so currently 2-1 in favor of TDK. Rui has definitely shown the ability to win games. Gonna need to win 2 straight here to move on to Grand Finals against Rice. Alright, I guess you won't be here for Grand Finals.
I might have a little extra time, but we'll see.
But thanks for sticking around.
Possibly not at this rate. Yeah, sure.
Next time I may have Axum Jinx on if things work out. I like to get previous participants when I can.
That would be cool.
I've had Game Freak do one before. That was fun. You've hosted beginner tournaments too, right? I think so.
I don't believe I have.
No?
Or if I have, I forget.
Who hosted the one that
I've
Court
commentated
won?
some before. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Who hosted the one that like QP won? Oh, that was Ox.
There used to be another beginner tournament series, but I forget who hosted it. Maybe it was Saya?
Maybe it was
I do not
Winter?
remember. If it were Winter, I would have remembered.
I've only played Winter very briefly. Winter's like the last Worm player there was, I think, right?
There was Maguka.
I guess in my mind, Megaka's not a Worm player, because whenever they fought me, they'd always play Hood.
Oh, okay.
But I guess Maguka is Worm sometimes. Alright, getting into game 4 of the set. Let's see. More going in. But getting caught out, yeah. The melee pressure is not worked out super well the last 2 rounds, running into either kunai or basic on the way out. It's like important. You have to have an escape plan when you go in for melee. If it doesn't work out.
I guess it was Ox who hosted the old ones.
I really wanted Ox to host one that I could play in, but I escaped beginner level before there was ever another one, sadly. Never got to play in beginner tournament, which is kind of why I host them, because if I wanted one, I figure other people do too. Give them that chance.
Fair enough. It would have been nice to have one when I was starting out.
Well, when you started, everyone was beginner, right?
Not everyone. There were advanced players.
Great, even game so far, but we get a quick bonk. No problem, Lunary. Thanks for playing. I thought you weren't going to make it today, but whatever you made happen to make it, we appreciate it.
Yeah, glad you showed up.
Unfortunate, we see Rui making the mistake of walking into the wall that Hood can sometimes make with basic. If Hood positions right, can just make a giant laser wall and cut off certain angles, and Rui not respecting it. But good play from both players. Rui does become the highest placed stun player ever at 3rd. Alright, Lunary, well, I'm glad you were able to make it. Don't worry, Rui, you did great. Thanks for playing. Bye. Alright, 3-1 for TDK. Oops, not negative. 3. And we'll move on to Grand Finals. Wait, was it on bracket that whole game? Please tell me it wasn't. I don't think it was. But if it was, I
sure hope not.
Sincerely apologize to the viewers if that was the case. Surely one of them would have said something.
Yeah.
Surely not all 17 of them are AFK.
Okay,
Axum Jinx saying it wasn't on bracket. Good. Good. Almost panicked there. Alright. So now we just have to wait for White Rice to be here, and we can have our grand finals. And here we go.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so this is best of 5. TDK, coming from losers, is going to have to win 2 sets to take the tournament. A tall order, but TDK has put on a great show. Perhaps they can make it happen. And then we, of course, have on the other side a plain bowler of White Rice. Has been on an absolute tear through this tournament, making it happen with the dodging, with the offense. Everything has been on point. Looking to become the first Storm Beast player to win my tournament series. And possibly the first Storm to reach intermediate since QP, I think. Right? I think that makes sense.
Possibly.
Unless Crest made intermediate at some point. I don't remember if Crest ever was considered intermediate. Did you ever see Crest?
I am not sure. That name sounds vaguely familiar.
Crest started around the same time as Game Freak, and they like played together a ton. And Crest eventually would just tag up as I Lost and use the I Lost picture because he would just lose a ton of games to Game Freak. It's kind of a bit. It was funny. There's a video on YouTube of me, Ox, and Illy playing remote play against Crest.
Oh, interesting.
Pretty funny. Where we would all play the same character. But anyway, we're getting to grand finals. White Rice off to an early lead. And they picked not Worm's Jewel Box, so hopefully they don't have the flashbang on. I don't, so the stream won't see it either way, but...
Oh, I always keep that on. Because when I play Frost in that stage, I need to get buffed. Also, the flash is a little annoying, but the color of the background becomes better after the flashbang. I don't like the red background.
I find the red decently easy to see things on, but I don't play this stage anyway. I insist on Jewel Box. Much to the displeasure of Maven. I remember Maven in particular always got mad at me when I said we had to play Jewel Box. Maven would pick the color, the stage with the background the same color as his moves.
Well, it wasn't the same color for Maven, because Maven always has this screen at max darkness.
Yeah, I mean, it was to try and hurt me. And game 1 goes to White Rice.
And and White Rice is switching to Frost?
Interesting, interesting. I wonder if this is a little bit of flexing, or he just thinks it'll be a easier win. Oh yeah, we never saw Frost this tournament, did we?
We have not.
No Frost players. I think we've seen every other character. We saw Sun, Hood, Arc. Did we see Worm?
Lich.
We did. Yeah. Or no Lich either. Yeah. Lich tends to be a character that does pretty well in these. The first beginner tournament especially, I hosted, we had plenty of good Liches. Including Game Freak. And Game Freak had played for 1 hour prior to that tournament.
Interesting.
Oh, we saw the glitch. If Jay Feather's in chat, you know what happened. We saw a bug that sometimes happens with Frost where Stun Wave can overwrite invuln. So the fact that White Rice Stun Waved and then got a hit, the Stun Wave invuln overwrote the getting a hit invuln. And so White Rice took a hit because they were sitting on wide or something. I don't remember exactly what, but a really unfortunate thing that sometimes happens to Frost. And we see White Rice playing very aggressive. Good Vanish by TDK. Very important to time that correctly because the late part of Vanish can still get stunned, unlike the early part. Now, there was a time, and maybe we're still living in that time, where this was considered a horrendous matchup for Hood. But we don't really have Hood players anymore, so I'm not sure if that's been fixed by the recent patch or not.
Frost has been nerfed a lot.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I'm surprised y'all nerfed Frost so much while I was away, even as someone who used to want to nerf her.
Well, I joined post-Frost nerfs, but watching old videos of this game, it was just like, every time I thought about playing again, and I looked at a tournament, it was just a Frost Mirror Grand Finals every single time, which made me never play the game, because that's just boring. So it certainly seems from that Frost probably deserved the nerfs if every Grand Finals was a Frost Mirror. But I think she's actually pretty good right now, very slept on. Turns the game into an endurance match as the character that's really good at endurance matches.
Yeah. That's how the game should be for every character, but alas.
I don't know if I agree. I actually think Frost is the least fun character to fight for precisely that reason.
Oh.
And if the whole game was like that, I probably wouldn't even play.
I think she's the most fun character to fight. If it's a bullet hell fighting game, it should be an endurance match, don't you think?
I mean, I don't play bullet hells. I play fighters. So for me, I much like it when the fighting game aspects are more emphasized. But
okay, that's fair enough. We're gonna have to change that soon enough, though. The not playing bullet hells thing.
Yeah, we can do that. It's definitely just like the different halves of MnS expressing themselves as different entities, I guess. But like, when I feel like I'm really awful at the endurance match part of MnS, but the way I win anyway is I think my offense is pretty good. Go for the fighting part of it.
TDK playing super safe, by the way, just trying to get that one last hit.
Yeah, I think as Hood, you really don't have a choice. If you go in, you're just gonna get Sunwaved and die, so...
That is true. I'm not sure that Frost switch worked out all that much.
Yeah. It was going well at first, but TDK adapted. So, TDK does have center control. White Rice trying to force him away, but doesn't succeed. Ooh. That's rare. A setup so dense by Hood that even dodge roll can't get you out of it. Lots of layering there. Oh, White Rice making some more bonks, unfortunately. Alright, I wonder if White Rice is going to stick it out. It'd be really sad to lose this after having played so well, just by picking random characters. Maybe set 2 will go Storm.
Yeah. White Rice does have a set to lose.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing any... Oh, there's a little bit of Unfocused Basic. I think Unfocused Basic is really important to use if you want Frost to have real offense. Because players can just memorize the pattern of Focus Basic and live for a very long time.
Alright, now is probably a good time for me to head off.
Alright,
I'll
thanks
stick
for
around in the
me.
lobby and just keep an eye on the results, but...
Alright, I'll
yeah,
see you
this
later.
was a really nice tournament. I'm happy to see so many beginners that have put so much work into the game. Really appreciated this. I will see you guys later.
Bye, Jorge.
Goodbye.
Alright, now we're solo commentating. I know Axe and Jinx is there. If you want to join up for the final set, you're welcome to do that, if you're feeling up to it. If not, I'll just continue to run solo. You'll have to join any channel in the MnS Discord, and I'll drag you into commentary. Alright, so we got a good setup here. White Rice dodges in place, unfortunately. I think a roll forward would have gotten out, but the in-place dodge gets hit. As Frost, I think there's 2 distinct playstyles you can choose in this matchup. Number 1 is the Live Forever strategy, which is the one that last time I played Axe and Jinx in this matchup they used. Because Frost has 2 defensive moves, both roll and stun, and Hood will almost never checkmate, it can be very, very difficult for Hood to ever land any hits against a good Frost player that knows when to use the defensive abilities. And you can just live forever and ever and ever and win that way. The other way you can win as Frost is to run it down and go for like basic wide mix-up and stun. If you do that, you can also win this matchup. Alright, and now we've got 2 points on the board for TDK, looking to reset this bracket. Oh, and it looks like there actually is a call going on with white rice in it, so maybe getting told what characters to play, I don't know. Right, so it appears white rice going for a very aggressive strategy, at least at first. TDK going for the setup. It's already down to their last heart. Still appears to be not a fan of using focused kunai, but I mean, they're in grand finals, so it's worked out decently enough. There's some. Yeah, keeping on the pressure. I think something TDK is doing that's really important, even if the kunai choice is a little questionable at times, just spamming attacks constantly. Very important as a beginner level hood to just spam attacks. If you don't, your opponent's just going to have a lot of gaps to just live and then go run at you in. Both players, yep, there we go. So there's that card. White rice looking to take it. Just needs one more card. Well, no, I guess it's 2-1 in TDK's favor, so needs to win this game and another. Currently sitting at 17 viewers. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Meet a few people in here who had never played MnS before, so maybe some of them will go on to buy the game and be the next best player. Who knows? Maybe someone in this tournament will be the next expert. We've yet to have someone who started in the year 2023 be an expert. We have had some 2022 experts, though, I think. Actually, one of those would be me, now that I mention it. So, who will be the first 2023 expert? Even Axum Jinx wouldn't be, and I think Axum Jinx is very close to qualifying, but started, I think, December of 2022, if I'm remembering right. So we need a bit of a newer player. We only had two new experts in 2022, so a bit of a slower growth from previous years, but hopefully the game can continue growing. That's why I host these beginner tournaments. And we're on potentially the last card of this set. If TDK manages to take it, we'll go to the bracket reset. Oh, a nice little weave by White Rice. Managed to go through the kunai. Yeah, so even unfocused kunai, when you do get a good setup, sometimes the other player can just go right through it. It's a little bit silly, but I guess that's just what Red Hood is. Ooh, that was close. I'm actually surprised that Vanish dodged stun. Looked like it was late enough to maybe be hit, but TDK manages to escape. Unfortunately, bonks wide there, though. White Rice getting cornered. It's wide. And there's the reset. TDK resetting the bracket, bringing us to set number 2. I don't know why when you chat in this game it always eats the first letter. Pretty annoying. It looks like White Rice is going to stay Frost. Just so the people know, I don't know if White Rice is doing this to try to qualify for future beginner tournaments, but White Rice will be disqualified from future beginner tournaments whether they win this or not, so definitely gonna have to inform them. I guess I'll do it between games. Don't want to cover up the actual chat box. Getting into this game, White Rice takes an early lead. Even bigger early lead. This is going to be a bit of a tough comeback for TDK. Landing hits on Frost as Red Hood, never an easy task. Another good stun wave, but dodged effectively by an even better Vanish. I don't think TDK has gotten stunned while trying to use Vanish yet, so has been timing them very well. If anyone in the chat has any questions about anything MnS related or otherwise, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer. Matchup is a little bit just kind of the same thing over and over, so I only have so much to say. I'd be happy to take questions at this point. Alright, guess we got nothing? Alright, we'll just continue on then. So, what gets you disqualified from future beginner brackets? So the thing that guarantees you to get disqualified is by winning one. Whoever wins this will be disqualified from previous tournaments, or from future tournaments. But another way is just, I consider you not to be a beginner. The normal way, if it's like a borderline case, or I just don't know, that I decide that I just play games against the person, and if I decide that they're too good, I just don't let them enter. It's kind of subjective, but I think it's important for the integrity of the tournament to be somewhat selective, because you don't want people just smurfing in a beginner tournament. It just makes for a horrible experience all around. Game Freak, you're not getting in a beginner tournament. You're a little too good for those. Oh, White Rice goes for the setup. White Rice famous. I don't know if they invented it or popularized it, but there is a setup you can do as Frost where you move while stunning, because normally that would reduce decayed stun where you miss, but there's some setup where it hits anyway. Capay also making a comment here, but yeah, you may not have won one, but you're also just too good to play. There's also the too good clause, which you definitely trigger. What was that dodge? That was crazy. Just goes right through the kunai. Hilarious. I think Scapay is a pretty good player, definitely not a beginner. Ooh, TDK takes the first game of the reset. Have to make sure there's not some misunderstanding here as to why White Rice is doing this. Yeah, a bit awkward, but I feel like it is important to check things like that. You never know what's happening, but it's not like I would expect White Rice to be doing something like that, but always safe to check. But it looks like White Rice is just doing it for Javaro. Javaro, for those who are not aware, is a Frost expert from the slight recent times. Hasn't played much recently, I guess has either lost interest or been busy, but they have a very unique style. They love to dodge and just do that. Like, Javaro will intentionally put himself in really horrible situations just to see if it's possible to live, and has played tournament sets against me not using dodge roll, just for fun. That's the kind of person Javaro is, and is very good. Has actually won a tournament before. I think has won one tournament. Hey, Lunar, you say if TDK gets banned, you're never getting your run back, but TDK would only be banned from beginner tournaments. You could still play in regular tournaments. That's the thing. I think beginners are afraid to enter real tournaments, but if all of them did, then there'd just be a solid early portion of bracket where there'd be beginner matches. Only because, like, only one beginner enters and it can be rough. But even then, the only way you can improve in this game is by playing, and playing good players is the best way. You have to be willing to lose a lot, but if you can get through that phase of getting bullied, you can really start to improve and start to learn what exactly does you need to be doing. Lunary did not place well enough to get banned from this tournament. I was very impressed by their play, but I'm not going to ban somebody who places in that spot. So I guess another part of this that I haven't mentioned is that if TDK does win this, a full 66% of my beginner tournaments will have been won by Red Hood. So White Rice is fighting for the non-Red Hood gang out here, and TDK looking for the Red Hood dominance. I've always known Red Hood's a good beginner character, but stats like these really show it. Actually, Red Hood is pretty bad at expert level, relatively speaking. I mean, the game's pretty balanced, every character is viable, but I would say Red Hood is 7th. Most people would probably say 8th at expert, but definitely, no question, SS++ tier at beginner level. By far the best character when you're new is Red Hood. It's just because Red Hood is pretty easy to use, and her offense is very effective. It preys on mistakes, and beginners make a lot of those, which is why Red Hood is such a good beginner character. I don't know if I agree with that aura. Red Wide being better than Depth as a character, I mean, maybe, but Red Wide by itself wouldn't really win games. And Lunary was showing us earlier just how effective beginner Depth can be. But I will say that's definitely the exception, not the rule. Beginner Depths usually tend to struggle a bit. We had a beginner Depth make, I think, a really deep run to Winners Finals in beginner tournament number 5 with Someone Unknown. That was probably the best depth run we've seen. I actually missed who won that game. I think it was TDK. So, White Rice, one game away from being eliminated and destroying the dreams of those who would like to see Stormbeast win a beginner tournament. We'll see how it goes. We also do winners interviews. For whatever reason, MnS seems to magnetically attract players who don't have mics or are shy. So we may not get a winners interview, but we might. It's always possible. Some players give them some dough. Oh, and we see the first imperfect Vanish. Finally getting stunned out of Vanish there from TDK. Impressive that it went so long without happening. Ooh, a little too greedy with the defensive moves there. Oh, have I not been updating the score? I mean, it's 2-0. I have actually been updating it. The score for Grand Set 1 was, I think, like 3-1. I think Rice won a game as Storm and then went Frost and then lost the next 3. And has lost the first 2 in this set. And this card also looking pretty good for TDK. And I'm still open to questions if anyone in the chat has them. If you're running out of time, this might be the last card. Yeah, I think what's happening, Lunary, is... Right, White Rice is just having some fun. They're friends with a famous Frost player, Javaro. I think it's just doing it for Javaro. I don't think it's a try-hard pick, because Storm is going really well. Yeah, any experts who were here earlier, even beginners, I guess, would have seen my Stormbeast tech showcase, where I showed off what it is that QP does as Storm that no one else does, that it lets them win so much. Hopefully you caught that. I think it was pretty cool. And it looks like White Rice is not done yet. It looks like Queen Doodles Wibby had a lot of games that were not 2-0s or 3-0s. Yeah, beginner tournaments can sometimes have a lot of those, but this tournament had, I think, a good number of sets that went to game 3. Alright, White Rice, 3 hearts remaining until potentially elimination. Yeah, TDK doing a pretty good job keeping Frost away, not letting Let's just get in there and melee. Oh, we see some there, but another excellent vanish. TDK has been on top of these vanishes, only missing one so far that I've caught. Good dodge, and I don't know if that was an intentional redirect, but we saw something like that by White Rice. And there you see that roll. That's part of the reason why this matchup can be a little bit hard. If Frost is on top of the normal dodging, anytime a hard situation comes up, roll just gets her out for free. It's really on top of that. Hood hitting Frost is very tough. Okay, yeah, so we see a question, why is Hood not strong at high level? So, what tends to make characters good or bad at high level is their ability to force hits. So Red Hood is a character that just creates a lot of chaos and shoots bullets, but there's almost never a situation where you are forced to get hit. We call that a checkmate in this game, situations that are unavoidable hits. And characters that produce those tend to be, at the highest level, the very best characters. So those characters are, although that wouldn't be the exact tier list in my opinion, but like, Depth, and congratulations to TDK taking the tournament. I'll continue in a minute. I'll ask if they want to do winner's interview. Yeah, so Depth and Storm were for a while considered the best character. They're very good at forcing hits. Lich doesn't force them directly, but basically just makes it where the opponent has nowhere to stand and just dies. But characters that have very weak ability to force hits, like Sun, Hood, those characters tend to be much weaker. Alright, so, it looks like we're about to have a winner's interview. For TDK, we just need them to join a voice channel in the stream. And there we go. Hello, TDK. Congratulations on winning the beginner tournament.
Hey, thank you. I am very surprised.
I'm not. I figured if White Rice didn't win, it would probably be you or Lunary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said, like, you know, let's make a show, and I was hoping to at least, like, put up a fight against White Rice, but then they went Frost, and I guess we did put up a show.
Yeah, you probably don't know the history yet. I think the reason that White Rice went Frost is because they're friends with a famous Frost player from the past, and I think is in a Discord call with them maybe, and just went Frost.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely played very well. The one thing I was most impressed about is your timing on Vanish, because you can get stunned out of it if you time it wrong, and you only did that one time, I think. Every other time you got out fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's something even good players sometimes will struggle with, is timing the Vanish perfectly to get out. So, other than White Rice, who I think would obviously be the answer, who was your most challenging opponent?
That match against Lunary was so intense, and I was really nervous going into it, actually, because we play all the time, right? And so we know each other's matchups very well. I think you can see that, like, in that VOD, I was exactly spacing out when the explosions would happen on the basic. Like, it's down to that level of refinement, and we go really even. So I was very afraid.
Yeah, you two seem to have, like, come out of nowhere after practicing a lot against each other to take the beginner world by storm. I was impressed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely hope to see more of both of you. I thought Lunary would do very well, but I guess made a couple of mistakes against Rui. Got eliminated in losers round 3. But you two were both quite impressive. And then, how did you feel the ping was against White Rice? Because that's a player famous for being very good at taking advantage of ping. And not just like in a toxic way, just like, you know, it's part of the game. Takes very good advantage of it. Did you notice that?
I kind of noticed. I feel like my playstyle does well against that, because a lot of what I do is I try to get the wides out and make sure that, like, they have to go through the wides, just to put as much pressure as possible in those micro situations. And in a high ping, I feel like you're going to bonk into that a little bit more.
Something else, I think I noticed the one thing I thought was maybe the biggest area to improve about your gameplay is I think you favor unfocused kunai a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Because against some of the faster characters especially, they would just kind of go around your pressure.
Yeah.
You definitely are good at using them when it works out, but I think there are moments when you need to kind of pull back a little on that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have plans to continue playing the game, or have you peaked here and you're done?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely keeping on playing. I've been really enjoying like just this week of joining in the Discord and joining in playing matches against people. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope to be a prominent member in the community a little bit.
That's cool. Of the players that have won these events, only one has kept playing long term. So hopefully you can be the second.
Yeah, hopefully.
That player's Game Freak, one of the best players that there is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any plans at any point to play other characters, or are you going to be all Hood all the time, you think?
I really enjoy Hood's gameplay, just because I really like setting kunais up and like doing different traps with the basics and like timing those together to really like force weird angles. But I'm thinking about Stormbeast actually. I really enjoy tricky characters, and just characters that can really mix up a lot. So I've felt like, especially after playing White Rice's Stormbeast, I could especially see the potential there.
Yeah, Storm has got a lot, but is generally considered to be a very difficult character because she's just so fast and can bonk things a lot.
Yeah, I think once my micro skills set in a little bit more, because I don't feel like I have the best micro, I would be more comfortable playing Storm, and I'm probably just gonna play Red until I get to that point.
Yeah, Red Hood, pretty good choice. I think has won 60% of my beginner tournaments now, so definitely good. Thank you so much for playing. I think we had a pretty good showing this time. Lots of matches, I think more than ever, weren't 2-0s or 3-0s. A lot of times that just happens in beginner events, but we had some closer sets this time around, especially those involving Noodles, Queen.
Yeah. I was surprised at their improvement the first time I played them. I was doing really well against them, but I've seen them improve particularly, so shout out to Queen.
Been on the grind for sure.
Yeah,
I might do another one of these I'll definitely hold one at some point. I don't know how soon. The first 4 happened in the span of like 2 months. I did one every 2 weeks, but then we kind of ran out of players by the end. So I guess I'll ask the chat right now. We have 17 viewers. Do people want another one relatively soon, or take a break? If there's interest, maybe we can do another. There are some players that seem to only play when there's a beginner tournament on the horizon.
Fair enough.
Winnery wants one soon. Yeah, you unfortunately are banned from all future beginner tournaments, but take it as a badge of honor.
It's alright. I will see if Lunary can join me in that privilege, I guess, next time there's a beginner tournament.
Yeah, I think there's definitely the potential. Harder to do it with depth for sure, but definitely I believe in Lunary's abilities to do it.
I'm calling them out. They gotta win the next one. They're probably watching the interview right now.
Oh yeah, in chat.
We were in a voice call earlier.
Oh, that must have been fun. Yeah, some players from the past liked to voice call during sets. I was never one of those, but it was pretty funny to be in there while other players would play their sets. That doesn't really happen much anymore, though.
Fair enough.
All right, well, thanks for the interview. I'll see you later, and good luck in your MnS journey.
Thank you.
All right, and that'll be the tournament, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and for playing. It's been a great time. I managed to keep it under 3 hours, as is my usual goal. So I won the tournament as well, in a way. All right, I'll hopefully remember to save this VOD. Twitch changed the rules on me last time, so I missed it, unfortunately. But this time I should get it. All right, we can take any final questions from the chat if anyone has questions about anything. And then otherwise, I'll end the stream. Where will the VODs be posted? They'll just be highlights on this Twitch channel. I don't yet have a MnS focused YouTube, but I may make one in the future. Currently, I just have a YouTube where I have like TF2 videos. I don't know if it'd be right to post the same MnS content on there. You will await the most promising beginner players tier list. Yeah, I think that would be fun to make, but I think it might also be, people might be mad they're not on it. I don't know. I think the people I would put on it are not quite the players that would be expected. Because just because a player eventually got good doesn't mean they were super promising on day one. Anyway, I guess that'll be it. Thank you, everyone, and see you later.